Well, this is actually my 26th interview. Thankfully, the YouTube dashboard does all that maths. You were the 5th, I think.
Was it?
I saw. It's actually quite funny to think that.
Back around again.
Just to think that there's probably over a day of raw footage of me sitting down with managers, which I don't know if that just looks good on my LinkedIn profile or if that's just fucking miserable. But for the first time anyway, Darren, I can finally say to somebody, welcome back. And clearly much more luxurious surroundings than my bedroom, but how are you? How's the last...
That's a bit dodgy, the bedroom.
It was, yes, with horrible lighting and all. He wasn't in my bedroom, by the way. It was...
Just confirm that.
Yes, we'll just clear that up. But it's been over a year and a half, I think. It was March, 2024, so a lot has changed. How's it been?
At a different club now.
Yes, first of all.
No, a lot's changed. Obviously, got the thing at Stirling. Obviously, at Stirling, let go. It's one of these things, you get relegated, so you need to accept it. You can say we had a good season, but I say a good season is obviously staying up, and then it was obviously the second last game of the season. We went into the second last game of the season. We went into the kind of second bottom with the goal difference situation, and then we were unable to beat Annan after battering them. And then the playoff as well with the Dumbarton game as well, and into the last game at home again where we battered Dumbarton, and again we never scored enough goals. But it was frustrating because if we'd scored one goal and got one more win, we'd have finished another 3 places up the league, and that shows you kind of how tight it was. And for me, it kind of showed how good it's not a good season because you get relegated, but how well they've done, considering we had the lowest budget in the league, considering it was the same budget we had for basically League 2 getting promoted. We were only able to sign 2 players just due to the budget constraints, to be honest, and then that was it. I felt we'd done well, but like, it's one of these things. It's happened, it's gone. I always kind of felt that I would get back in somewhere, and then the opportunity came at Clyde, so I jumped at it. It's nearby, it's local. I felt they had a really good squad. Unfortunately for the previous manager, they hadn't started too well, so I knew a lot of the players and kind of been against them, coached against them and stuff, so I knew it was a good team, and I had sort of the confidence in my own ability to kind of get them back up the table. And now this season we're obviously wanting to kick on and be at the right end.
You're a bit of the godfather of League 2 at this rate, aren't you? This seems to be your pad. Because, this is your 4th team that you'll be in this division with, so is it? I've been Rovers. No, you were Fife in League 1, weren't you?
Yeah, he's Fife in League 1.
Right, so 3rd team then, so hopefully but I did also explain to you about my curse as well, and given the run you're on right now, I'm not sure this is quite ideal timing. But what's really just been behind that run? Because actually, I was having a look at it yesterday, and you've lost. There's only 2 league games this season, but you've only lost it one since about the end of August.
Yeah. Well, I think we were unbeaten in 11, something like that, 10 or 11, I think, after Saturday's game. So, no, I mean it's a great run we're on. The boys have done great. And again, the only thing is one defeat in 14, and it was just Annan in the Scottish Cup. But thankfully,
Annan again.
At the weekend we managed to, but thankfully at the weekend we managed to kind of get one over on them after taking the lead after 27 seconds. But no, I think it's just a wee bit of continuity. When I first came in this time last year, probably you're looking at 10 players out, and it was like 2 in, 2 out, 2 in, 2 out. Then the January window came, and then we lost Jordan Allen, my striker, had 7 goals in 8 games since I'd come in, 4 assists or something mad like that. You had Jordan Houston had an opportunity to go full time abroad, so we weren't going to stand in his way. Paul Mackay was kind of retiring to kind of help take over his dad's agency business. So again, there was a lot of change come January. And it was kind of hard to replace these guys. These are guys that have kind of played Championship, League 1, etc., higher levels, and again we kind of found it hard to kind of replace them. But look, the remit was to obviously try and finish as high as we could, stabilise the club, because obviously when I came in it was bottom of the table, and we managed to kind of do that. And then this year we've managed to go and kick on. We signed quite a lot of guys that we had for last season, but which again a lot of people weren't too happy about, to be honest, fans wise and fan base. But again, I think the difference probably last year, a lot of these guys had maybe been out for kind of 3-4 months. I just felt like with the budget we had, the players that were there and we'd already seen, there's one or two we wanted to improve upon. There's a couple of guys that were let go. But from our point of view, I think we've got a pretty good, solid kind of squad. We've got 22 players, a couple of loans in there as well. And it was young Taylor for Dunfermline, who we'd had in last year and finished the season strong, and young Jamie Bradley again the same, who finished the season really strong as well. And then coupled with the guys that we've kind of brought in, I think we're kind of stronger than we were last season, and I think that's kind of shown in the league positions.
Is that then a big thing to have? You know, even if maybe they weren't quite as popular maybe with the supporters, but ultimately for you as a manager to then have the familiar faces around the team, that core squad who at least, even if maybe things didn't quite go to plan last season, at least they've been in the building, they've been around you, they know what they're doing. Is that important as well as, of course, bringing in?
Yeah, I think when it's the same way with Stirling Albion, they did the same. We kind of them there when I was at there, joined them, and it was a case of a lot of guys that were there for the season before, but they were good players, and obviously they maybe not had reached their potential that year before. But again, we chopped and changed, maybe 4 or 5 in, 4 or 5 out to improve and better. We coupled with a few loans, and again we managed to go and kick on. And I think it's a big thing that the Albion Rovers were very similar as well. I'd come in, and again it was a similar squad to the guys that they'd had the season before, and again you get maybe 3 or 4 guys out that you feel that you can improve upon. Again, once you kind of pinpoint or get someone that you think first and foremost, can we afford them, will they come in, will they make a difference, then and then obviously you do the checking, and then you're kind of able to then let the other guys go. But I mean, off the back of that, I mean, I think it's good that the run that we're on as well, we've not been having to make too many changes, and that's kind of down to the guys now all knowing the system, the guys now knowing what's expected of them, and again off the back of that, you go and get performances, you get results. On Saturday we had 5-6 guys out, a couple of late call-offs. We had 1 or 2 guys doing fitness tests as well, so putting their bodies in the line. Jinky, for instance, was ill all week, and again never trained, but he said he would sit on the bench for us because we were kind of maybe limited in options wise, and if he was needing to go on, then he went on. But again, luckily enough, we didn't need to put him on. But again, it just shows you that kind of togetherness and team spirit that we've got, that the guys are putting their bodies on the line. And that's kind of on Saturday, that's the kind of way it ended up. We scored after 27 seconds, which is brilliant, but then we never played particularly well. And again, it's looking back, obviously you're delighted with the win in that, and you're maybe a wee bit annoyed with how you performed, but once you kind of watch it back and you kind of settle down and you're like, do you know what? We've got the 3 points, we've got the clean sheet, we've got the win. We kept ourselves closer to the kind of right end of the top end of the table, challenging at the right end this year. And then off the back of that, the other scores went for us as well. So it's good you kind of cut that gap to kind of the 3-4 points. But at the same time, as a manager and a coach, you kind of look back in the game, and having watched it kind of back, you're kind of sitting saying, well, we had 5 chances that on another day we could have actually scored. So as much as we were saying we're disappointed with how we performed, we still had another 5, as far as we're concerned, kind of clear-cut chances, 2 free headers, and then kind of 3 one-on-one situations where the goalies saved it or we've not hit the target. So off the back of that, maybe it's a greedy thing to be saying that you've obviously won 1-0, you've played poorly, but you've still had those 5 chances. So but no, it was great. And the guys as well, they were on went away on their kind of break to Dublin, so they had a great weekend, I'm sure. And again, we enjoyed our weekend because you get that victory and you get the kind of 3 points. So it's kind of win-win at the same time. We get the victory, they can go and enjoy themselves, and then we've kind of got a week to kind of get the kind of injured guys or illness guys back and fully fit because we're out the cup. So we've got a free weekend as such, but it gives us time for the boys to kind of get back to full fitness and get over their injuries.
So what you're saying is you're big on the expected goals then, that's what that sounded like then, where the clear-cut chances there.
Yeah, again, it's not always about stats, but for me, when when your team's doing well, or if you're playing well and you're creating chances, and it then becomes an individual thing. So the player in that position, 1v1 with the goalie, and that's not just either the striker or the attacking midfielder. That for me, that then comes to like set pieces where your defenders get a free header or whatever it may be. If you're kind of creating clear cut chances, then obviously you're doing something right. But sometimes you may find that at the other end of it, you get somebody makes a mistake, and again, it's not a defender. It could be a midfielder that doesn't track a runner, or a goalie that makes a mistake, or whatever it may be. You're in that position and in that situation. But I think one of the things that you kind of touched on earlier on, we've only had 2 defeats this season in the league, but at the same time, we've also had the most draws. So I think we've had like 7 draws and we've had 2 defeats. And again, even if you'd had a couple of those draws turned into wins, which we probably should have, to be honest, then we could have been kind of sitting higher up the table. But again, we're not going to get greedy. It is what it is. Every team would have the kind of same situation and can say the same thing about any number of games. But we know ourselves that we could do better in the position we're in. The now we're in a decent position, but we were still kind of pushing. Still, the expectation is we should be doing better and we should be kind of higher up the league.
It's been quite a draw-heavy season. I don't know if you've noticed that. Like even in the Premiership, I remember I think it must have been like start of October or whatever, and obviously Hearts, Celtic, which is unfortunately still that way. But then Hibs were third. Hibs had won 2 games, but it was because of all the draws. And then actually, I mean, you look at Russell Martin as well. I mean, he actually lost 1 league game, 2 league games, but it was because of all the draws. It's weird that until like
I think, again, it's not for me to talk about other clubs or other managers, but I think just obviously watching the Rangers games and watching highlights, there wasn't really much coming there. And if there's not really happening for you and it's pass, and you're then in a position where you're not getting the victory and the wins, especially at a club like Rangers, Celtic, then you're going to kind of pay the price. I think the difference with the guy Roll, they're playing a bit better, but they look, for me, just watching it, they look harder to beat and they're getting wins. Yeah. So they might not be doing particularly great, but at the same time, they've got 4 or 5 wins in a row. Yeah. And had that been the situation with Martin, then Martin would probably still be in the job if he'd got the wins, as opposed to playing average and getting beat, or playing average and getting the draws.
Well, that's Thelwell and Stewart gone today as well, isn't it? Did you see that?
Yeah.
I know it's always interesting, like, coming and talking about the big teams with a lower league manager, just because it's the disparity is just huge. It's sometimes you get a bit of a reminder of just how skint Scottish football is. I think that's the best way to look at it. I mean, but I was going to ask as well, did your Masters football invite get lost in the post, or did Derek take yours? Was that what it was?
Don't know, maybe that's what it is. Maybe they sent it to the wrong place. But no, Derek done well last year, and then obviously he done well again this year. It was good to see, to be fair. It was good to kind of watch them. But no, he manages to keep himself a wee bit more fitter than I can with that side of things. But no, it was good to watch him. Big Russell Anderson was flying as well, so not like him to be getting any sort of goal, but 4 goals and leading by example.
Is he still up that way, or is he?
Yeah, I mean, Derek's doing. He was with Aberdeen kind of youths, and then just kind of as of probably about 6 months or a year. Well, he's probably doing it longer. He was doing both. He was working with the performance skills, so he's still working there now. And I think they've still got a wee bit of work now for the last kind of 3-4 years, because I think they're looking at kind of tweaking that or changing that now. But no, he's been up there kind of ever since he went back up to Aberdeen. His wife Alison's got a really good job with the wood group and oil and gas and stuff. So it kind of makes sense. And his 2 kids have been kind of up there the full time as well. So. I mean, I think if they could, they would love to kind of pick it up and move back down the road, etc. But I think where they are, I mean, they've got loads of friends, family, and they're in a wee kind of villagey type thing up there, just in between Stonehaven and Portlethen. So, but no, they're up there and enjoying it and doing well. So.
That's your life, isn't it? Do you know?
Can
I really just pick up? I know I'm saying I'm going to be to France for a few months, hopefully, in January. So. We'll see how I get on with that. I'm not a particularly homesick person, but that will probably come back to bite me at some point. But I think we should let's rewind back to pretty much, not going to tell you to take us back to the start, but really I think we just need to pick up from where we left off last time. Yep. As we were saying before, of course, the infamous Charlie Whelan curse comes into play. Alan Troughton loves to remind me of it. Ultimately, I think it was he's won 1 game at Stirling Albion from when I spoke to the end of the season. Just
was again.
What happened? I think that's the best question to ask.
Again, I think it was just a case of not taking our chances. I remember 1 game against Kelty, where for 65 minutes we absolutely dominated, and I don't think Kelty had a shot on target, and then we get a man sent off, the game kind of changed, and then 93rd minute, Kelty go and score a bit of a wonder strike right in the top bin. I remember that game. That put us under obviously pressure, and then at the same time the other teams were kind of catching up. And then we had a game, was it Cove Rangers? Again, we had two sitters for 6 yards out, just a goal to beat. We don't take them, and it ends up being a 1-1 draw when we should have probably beaten them. Who was the other games? The Queen of the South game as well. Again, we go and take the lead, and it becomes a 1-1 draw, and then we have, I think it was Big Tomo at the back post, had another kind of glaring opportunity, and it is a bit sickening at the time, because you're sitting saying there's one goal gets you the 2-3 positions up in the league. And it's crazy, but we speak about it all the time, the kind of small margins, and that's football. And you kind of need to take it in the chin, and I did, to be honest. But again, even the thing with the kind of stats stuff, again, it's things that people won't look at or people won't know. I mean, there was 4 full-time teams in the league at the time, in League One, and we were third best for like number of shots in target, number of corners. So from an attacking perspective and from that side of things, then yeah, we'd done well, we'd created all these chances, and again at the time the guys never kind of took the chances. And again, it's not just coming from strikers, midfielders or attackers, it's for set pieces as well, because we'd missed more than enough kind of free headers for 5 yards out. I remember one game at Annan away where the goalie and the centre half ran into each other, and they were 5-10 yards in our half. Why the goalie was up there, I'll never know. But again, it's just one of those ones that you look at other games and it falls to them. You get penalties against you get just penalties not going for you. So there was a wee bit of everything, to be honest. I think we gave it a fair go, and even like from statistically for the defensive side of things, we were the kind of best defensive record from the kind of part-time teams down. So it's just one of those things. You need to kind of accept it and learn from it and kind of move on. So again, you can't feel too hard done by. It's happened to loads of people. It will happen again. So learn from your experience and look to kick on from it.
I suppose, though, I mean, because you must have been about maybe 6th or 7th, I'm not going to say that, but you're aware of the viral 6-7 meme on the internet.
Well,
that's why I was really feared to say
my 7-year-old son always tells me about
it. I think your Stammer was doing it yesterday, actually. I think that's when we know we're gubbed. Because they were doing it at the England match as well. It got to the 67th minute, and they said they were just putting the flashlight on their phones or something. You just heard other Waynes go, it's just... I think he was 7th. I'm not even going to bother prospecting over it if it was 6th or not. If you'd finished 7th, though, that would have been a very successful season, I reckon.
Yeah.
Do you know,
100%.
So,
I mean,
but it's the manner in which it happens, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
it's a signal. You're into that last game, it's in your hands, and you have, I think it was something like with 18 shots to 3, cleared off the line, hit the post, hit the bar, blah, blah, blah. You feel sorry for yourself, but that's a reality. So, and then the exact same, that was the Annan game, and then the Dumbarton game away. I know we get beat 2-1, they got a penalty with 2 minutes to go, and again off the back of that, it's been for us, the guys made the most of it. They get it, they've got a lead to hold on to, and then again at home, again it was something similar, like 20 shots to 3 or 4 or something like that, and again we couldn't put the ball on the line. So it's down to us. So that was it, and that is, and if it was, and that was the thing for me, had you finish 7th, then I mean that'd be looked on an unbelievable season. Aye. To be honest, to come in there with 4 full-time teams and to finish 7th, then that would have been a great achievement. But again, one goal out if you're doing that.
Because there was a wee sort of showdown match at the end between you and Anna, wasn't it? Was that not like the last game of like the regular season, if you like, as well? And that was essentially the do or die. It was like the Scotland-Denmark type situation, that bit the other way around. But you say about like full-time, part-time teams, do you, and not in that way to like disrespect like folk or whatever, but do you feel like there is a big difference between, say, League One and League Two in that sort of sense, in the way that that's the part-time teams, and then you've got your...
Yeah,
do you feel there is a big gulf there? Or is
there's obviously, I mean, we had Falkirk who went and won the league 2 years in a row in our division. Now, the thing with Falkirk, we played them away and they battered us twice away, 5-0, and the very first game we felt we could kind of challenge them as such, and then within half an hour you're 3-0 down and you think, right, back to the wall here. But then when we played them at home, both games we were drawn 1 each, with one was in the 87th minute and then the other one was the 90th minute, where they scored to make it 2-1. So we kind of held our own. It was the same with Hamilton Accies. I'm sure we beat Hamilton, but maybe we've just been 2 draws, but I'm sure we beat them at home and drew with them. But again, it's one of those ones where being the part-time team, you kind of hold your own, you need to defend and battle, and then obviously hopefully get a wee bit of luck, and hopefully the other team misses a few chances. So but no, I think you're jumping. I think that there's not too much difference, I think, for the part-time teams. I think there is a wee bit, but again, it's just that bit of quality that maybe certain part-time teams can bring in, so they can go and get their big striker or the guy that's going to make a difference, whether it's a big centre half or a winger or an attacking midfielder, whatever it may be, so they can go and do that. And I think that's the kind of difference. But I think there's, between the full-time and that, then bit of a gap, but between the part-time teams, I don't think there obviously there's certain ones, but I think that most kind of teams can kind of play against each other or cause each other problems. I think this year, especially our league, this is probably the most competitive from the League Two time, or League Two games or teams that I've played in, and everyone can beat anyone, to be honest, and it is literally the bottom can beat the top. Obviously Edinburgh in a kind of false position with the 15 point deduction. They've done well, and if they had their 15 points they would be up there at the top end challenging. And again, it's just it's, you see the results every week. There's Stranraer going and taking 4 off Spartans. We beat Aaron a couple of weeks ago 6-0, and East Kilbride have had a few high scores, but then they've been in the end of a couple of defeats as well. So it's I mean, I don't think, right now everyone's kind of jockeying for position, should we say, but I think you're probably looking till closer to the end of the season before any sort of gaps, well, for me anyway, that would maybe start to kind of open up, or you can kind of say, like, they're definitely challenging, or they're not challenging, or etc. So I think it'll be a hard fought league to the very end.
Are you enjoying these Hamilton Accies former facilities? Because I can't call them Hamilton Accies facilities, I suppose, because they're not. Are you enjoying this? Are you even just enjoying like the way, like, that? I know ultimately we'd said, all right, you guys are operating out of here, and you said we kind of aren't. Are you just maybe enjoying having that sort of, now knowing that New Douglas Park kind of is home base now, and there's not maybe a bit of uncertainty about, for now anyway? Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, no, it's great, because it's obviously we were training at Airdrie Stadium, but now the fact that we're here and it's we're kind of home as such now, then it makes a big difference. It allows the players to get kind of used to the surroundings, familiar with surroundings. We don't have to kind of be humping the kit anywhere back and forward. Obviously there's kit rooms in there as well, there's the wash machines and that. I don't know if we can use them if we've got somewhere else, but we've got all that there. It's good for us. Me and Scales, assistant manager, I've got a wee room as well now to be able to kind of sit and be in and kind of go over stuff. There's a kind of media room upstairs that we can kind of utilise as well if we need to go and do stuff there. And
the media room, and we're here in the changing room.
But no, it's one of those ones where it's good to be here, because it keeps everybody together. The changing rooms are good as well. They're all kind of facing in towards each other. There's other kind of facilities you could go to, and you've got maybe 10-12 boys in one room, 10-12 in the other. So to kind of have that, it's good camaraderie, good togetherness. There's a physio room and all that as well. So it's been really good. And I think it makes a difference, and you can kind of see that with the players, and just with the banter, and they're slaughtering each other every other day. And so all
you can ask for, innit?
Exactly.
Were you back into management and just back into the game earlier than expected or later than expected? Because I swear to God, and I'll put it up on the screen as well. So like, I think when Ian was gone for here, there was Ian McCall, your replacement. Yeah, aye. I remember, I swear to God, on like this kind of podcast Twitter account, I tweeted a photo of you and said, "There's your man," or something like that, right? And
you feeling guilty about the last interview, were you?
Yeah, aye. So actually, really, I thought I'd be a good omen for once, and then actually maybe since, because the curse started with us, maybe it'll end with us now, and then I don't have to listen to it.
Well, it was funny because I was on Tam Cowan's show on the ball, sorry.
Yeah.
On the Saturday morning, is it Saturday? It was a Saturday afternoon, and they were talking about that, saying they had got like the last 2 or 3 whatever it was, the last 2 or 3 managers that were on, who were out of job at the time, and then by going on that show, and I never knew this, they'd end up getting a job within the next kind of week or two. And I swear to God, and Tam had texted me after it saying, "There you go, back in the game, wee man." And it was again just purely because of obviously you've been on the show, this job's didn't come up. And it was so it was quite funny, but no, again, I kind of confident in myself. I fancied the job. You put your kind of CV in and you kind of go for it. So I don't think it was. I think when I got bumped for Stirling, then you're in a position of it's end of season, so realistically, you know that the sacking season will only kind of happen until the kind of first quarter of the season. So
September.
Yeah, so you're kind of talking September, October time. But if teams start off poorly, then you maybe get a wee opportunity to get your foot in the door. So no, it was one of those ones where that kind of happened, and then obviously the Clyde job came up, and it was funny because Gordon Thompson, who was here, I'd been interviewed for the Clyde and the Albion Rovers job a way back, and Clyde decided that they were going to go with Barry, and at the same time I'd kind of agreed with Albion Rovers anyway, but then they were going to go with Barry, and then just by pure chance, but Albion Rovers won the league on Clyde's stadium at the time at Cumbernauld, and Gordon was in the tunnel at the time, and I remember so that was kind of quite a funny moment, to be honest. Obviously you have the interview with them, didn't go quite to plan for them, and at the same time it goes really well for me at Albion Rovers, and then you go and win it on their pitch as such. So it was good.
It's funny actually you mention that, because I remember my dad actually talked about it. So like obviously you're a Remax man, or are you still? Yes, good. I'm giving him a plug for no reason here, and that was like one of the takeaways that he just took for our first interview, which, you know, be proud of your employers, of course. And I think you had said that on off the ball, because I think he'd just turned it on. He must have been going through it or something like that. And but he obviously started like in the middle of the show or whatever, so he didn't actually hear who the guest was. But he was kind of listening to the voice and he was thinking, I know who that is, but I can't think who it is, because he listens to them all and he critiques them. And then he must have mentioned your job, and he's like, that's who it is. Darren Young, that's who it is. But maybe there is actually, like, I know obviously the whole curse thing is a bit of a joke, but it's not. But then, who knows? Maybe just you going on that made them think, oh, well, you know.
Well, that's the thing. It's obviously you kind of put yourself out there. You get opportunities to go and do certain things. I've done a couple of things, radio stuff as well, with Gordon Duncan and that, on Sports Sound and etc. So it's one of those things you're obviously want to keep yourself in and keep yourself right for the next kind of opportunity that comes along.
Just talk about yourself for an hour, you know. Can't ask for a better bargain than that. But I'm quite interested in the whole sort of, I'm not saying, you know, like the fans would have been slaughtering you or anything, but so when you came in after, and they had given Ian McCall a fair kitty to work with, and even you know, in years gone by there was a fair bit of money thrown at it. And Ian McCall, of course, an established name as well, comes in, and I think we were well, not the last time I was here. The last time I was here was that East 5 game, and time before that I think they were playing Forfar, so it was a kind of bottom of the league type of clash, and we were kind of looking at ourselves, I think, God, they're done. But then managed to stable it, and then but then in towards like the start of the season it didn't quite go to plan. Did you feel there was a pressure to get a lift out the players straight away, or did you maybe feel you got a wee bit of leeway, so to speak, because ultimately you were the new face in the door?
When I first started?
Yeah, aye.
I think there was a wee bit of leeway, to be honest. And then obviously it's one of those ones you were maybe getting a win and a draw and a couple of defeats, or it was just kind of chopping and changing. Obviously it's that way, you're just kind of, again, it was hard because we were chopping and changing players every week. There was players that when I came in they were meant to be fit or were getting fit, and then they broke down, they were out. There was guys who were meant to be coming back in January, again ended up out for the whole season. So it was that way. You're trying to, I don't know, you're just kind of weighing everything up. You're trying to kind of get a kind of consistency. You're trying to kind of get the guys kind of buying into what you're wanting. And then off the back of that, can you get results? Can you get performance? Because first and foremost, it was to get the results. So no matter how you got it, you wanted to get the results. Yeah, you want to play it, you want to get it playing pretty football and doing this and doing that and blah blah blah. Then yeah, but at the end of the day, it's about winning and about getting 3 points. We managed to do that, and again, we managed to kind of consolidate is the word I would use. And then again, the season starts. With a good League Cup section. We only get beat up. Well, Motherwell beat us in penalties. Then we beat Stranraer in Stenhousemuir in penalties, and we'd beaten. Who else was it?
I'm trying as well actually because I was watching something.
Morton beat us in the last game, and Peterhead. It was Peterhead up there. We beat them 2-1. We scored 2 goals late on. After losing a absolutely horrendous penalty where the guy just tripped over himself and then the referee bought it. But no, we had a good League Cup section, and the league, as much as it didn't start too well, again you get the mumps and the moans with 2 defeats, 3 draws, and again every game we were again it's not. You talk about stats, but we knew we'd been playing well. But every one of those games, we had more shots and more corners and more crosses than the other team. And again, it means nothing if you don't convert that into goals. So, but at the same time, we're sitting saying we're going the right way. We're showing the guys what's happening. We're showing them how we're losing the goals. Obviously, there was maybe about 3 or 4 individual errors within that. And again, those things are kind of easy to kind of remedy or easy to fix, because if the same guy continues to make mistakes, then he'll find himself out the team and somebody else will come in and get an opportunity, and that's just the way it is. For us, it was maybe one guy's made the mistake, then someone else, and so you're sitting, you've maybe lost 6 or 7 goals, and it's been 6 or 7 different players that have maybe made those mistakes. And then for the majority of the game, you're saying, right, we've been solid, we've been hard to beat. This guy slipped, this guy's gave the ball away, this guy's no match the runner. So it's frustrating that way, but at the same time, as a manager, you've got to take the stick, you've got to take it in the chin, which is fine. That's the nature of the job. So you can't start crying and moaning because fans are giving you it if you're not winning games. But no, there's been games where, since I've been in here, the fans have clapped us off because they've saw how well the guys have played and been beat 2-1, 3-2. I think one of the games actually, I think it was Peterhead game maybe last year. Played really, really well, and then we don't get the win that we deserve. But no, it's one of those things. You've got to kind of take the good with the bad. There was a wee moment a couple of weeks ago with a fan. We were 2-0 down. It was the Elgin. It was the Annan game. And again, I don't usually kind of shout back as such, but it's the kind of first time I've really done it. And the guy was having a mumping and moaning and shouting. We're 2-0 down. We had 4 chances to go 1-0 up. Good chances, clear cut chances. Don't take them. Lose 2 goals for 2 shots. And again, it's fine to take it in the chin. Then we've another couple of chances to go back into the game. Off the back of that, we're in a position, in a situation where Big Sam's come off injured, so he's got bleeding for the cause. So my thing was that Sam's come off, the guy's shouting and moaning and bawling, effing this and effing that, and get a sub on this and that, and this is a joke, 2-0 down. So just stuff you're like, give us a break. I mean, at this point we've been 9 games unbeaten. Sam's basically underneath in the dugout, getting stitched, getting glued, getting himself ready to come back on and play for his team and run through a brick wall, which he's done all season for us. And Aaron just kind of shouted back at the guy, and he's like, he wasn't happy. When I'm like that, like, he's, well, politely told him that to do one, and that the player that's playing for your team that you're meant to be supporting is basically getting 3 or 4 stitches or his eye glued together to go back on and play for your team that you're meant to be supporting. So that was that, and then we had luckily enough, the next week we had the Dumbarton game at home. We beat Dumbarton at home, and we had a kind of meet the fans thing, and fair play to the guy. He waited behind and he came up and apologised. And I think he apologised and just says, like, he was getting a wee bit excited, but I'm like, look, you need to be a wee bit more patient. Because we come back into the game 2 each, and then we end up losing a worldly goal. But at the same time, my situation as a manager is we're trying to get the guy back on, and it doesn't help when someone's just shouting, because then that had an effect, because you've got another 2 fans who then start shouting, aye, that's right, get an effing sub on. And I'm like, right, this has all happened because of one guy. So because of one guy has turned round and shouted this, then you get a reaction from another couple of fans. When reality is, you've got a player who's off. We're down to 10 men. We're 2-0 down because we've lost 2 poor goals, and the guy's getting stitched up to come back on and play for the team. So that was a bit annoying. But again, fair play to the guy. He's come back. He's apologised, and that's it's done and dusted. We move on.
Well, that's such an off-putting sound, that, isn't it? It's one of the worst urinal audios I've ever heard.
Save that, kill your thingy.
I might pick it up. I might not. I'm just going to roll with it anyway. But they're saying about like pretty football and it being good. Have you found that the football has gotten prettier at this level? Like, do you know, in the way that it seems like everybody's trying to play out for the back and everybody's trying to play tiki-taka football. Yeah. Whereas, of course, League 2 and all that is renowned for just being an absolute dogfight most of the time. Do you feel like the lower leagues are going in that direction, or is there still very much those roots? There's a
bit of both. I think there is definitely teams, again, we'll try and do it ourselves, but I think you do it at the right times. And I mean, I know this, the kind of playing out for the back thing and blah, 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 and that's great if it works, but you see it in the Premiership where guys in millions of pounds a year and they still can't do it, so... I'm not being funny. Obviously, there'll be some defenders and some players who are more comfortable taking it for the back and getting out for the back. For me, if it's on to do it, then we go and do it. If it's not on, then fine. We had a situation against Jura 3 weeks ago. It was 0-0. We drew the game, and for the first 15 minutes, because we were trying to do that, we kept giving it away. So, and I'm like, for the side, I'm like, guys, obviously a wee bit of game management here. We're struggling. We can't get out. They're doing well. They're pressing us high, so fair play to them. We're giving it away. So why not go and turn it in behind? So go and play it 40, 50 yards in behind and use your wingers and use your strikers who are as quick as, if not quicker than their defenders. Then you force them back behind into their half, and then you go and squeeze the game for there, which then allows us to go up. Or instead of the keeper playing it out, squeeze up to the halfway line, the keeper can go and punt it or go and take the kick. So it's, again, I'm not a thing to that. It's one of those ones. I've seen a lot of youth, or the pro youth, and it's like constant. And it's like, I'm not being funny. I mean, but again, I'll use my brother's team as an example. When he was taking Aberdeen under 15s, I think it was. I was at a game, it was a few years back, and they've been kind of given that, the manager at the time, we need to do this, we need to do that type of thing. Brilliant. But they've got a guy who's maybe 6 foot compared to the wee 5'8" or 5'10" defenders. Now, every time the ball went over the top, the guy ran in and got a chance at goal. And I'm like, why are you still passing here, and then your defenders or your wee midfielders who aren't quite comfortable in the ball or losing it for 30 yards and being counter-attacked? And I'm like, to him at half time, I said, I saw you do it 5 or 6 times. I says, so, and then the first time the ball goes over the top, your big guy's in and he scores. I says, or it went up to him, he's held it up, the wee boy who's up against is not strong enough, he lays it back, and then your wingers get in the gear. I goes, because that's going to happen when you become, once they get older and they get into youth football, reserve football, men's football. So it's one of those ones. It's nice to do that, and it's nice. But another thing that, again, I'll touch on when people talk about this is, how many goals have actually been scored for the goalie, passing out for the back and then playing through a team? Now, I would love to see that as a stat. And again, not all about stats, but how many times do people get the ball for the back, pass, open my team up, and then they actually score for the goalie doing it? And I think you'd be like maybe 5% or 2%, if that. Maybe 2%. I don't know. I've not checked it. But
I think that's about the same probability as scoring directly for a corner as well, actually. So that kind of puts it into perspective a wee bit.
But that's the thing, it's good if you can go and do that and it looks nice and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's about getting goals and winning games, and sometimes 10, 15 minutes, you go and turn teams, go and force them back, see how they deal with it, see how they affect, will they drop off, do they stay high, and then from there you can go and play accordingly.
Well, I think it's fair to say it's been quite a turbulent last few years for Clyde. With clearly stadium situations, there's been crowdfunding, there's been directors coming and going and all that, and it seems as if right now there seems to be a wee bit of stability. Aye. Yep. How did they then sell the potential to you, maybe because does maybe the background stuff play on your mind when you're going to go for a job, or were you just straight in, no, I can see it as well, if you like?
No, it's a bit of everything, to be honest. Obviously, you sit down, you have the conversation with the guys, and then again off the back of that, you kind of, I think first and foremost, I'm kind of looking at the squad. I'd seen the games, I'd been to a few of their games, and I felt that when the squad was kind of good enough, and then obviously off the back of that, you then go and kind of speak to the guys in charge to see what their ideas are. Yeah, consolidation, and then obviously be looking to, and again for me as well, that was something that I'm going to do. I'm going to be going and challenging at the right end of the table and pushing for promotion, whether it be kind of winning leagues or through playoffs or whatever it may be. So it's one of those ones there. Ambitions kind of matched up to my ambitions, and again, I felt that the squad was kind of more than good enough to go and do that and go and get them into that position. Obviously, the ground situation was kind of still up in the air as such, and obviously I knew we trained, so it was there's those things, but again they're trying to do the right things. There's good people in the background, and that they're trying to, they've got the best interest in Clyde at heart, and a lot of them have been here for a long time, so it's just trying to get that wee bit of consolidation, that foundation to then look to kind of kick on and gradually improve and better all the kind of departments at the club.
Yeah, aye. Well, I'm quite curious in about, because I suppose we always look at managers, and the only thing you can ever judge someone on is by their past tenures or their reputations, like for other clubs or whatnot. But I don't think we ever really focus on how much maybe you learn from a managerial experience. So how different then would you say is this Clyde, Darren Young, who is right up there challenging to bring them back up into League One, to the one who ultimately got the boot after I cursed you?
I don't know.
We're not different, so to speak, but maybe what are some of the things that you?
I think a majority of the stuff is very similar. Obviously, you've got a different assistant, and Scal's very experienced. He's been more full time than he has been part time. But again, he's a really good coach. He's a really good guy. He's a great link between the players. You've got your coaching staff. I knew James Evans as well, the goalie coach from when I was a young boy. He lived in the same estate as us. And again, at the time it was Big Ebo, the kit man. I kind of knew him to see, and I know he wasn't the quietest. And now we've got Dougie in, and Dougie's been brilliant as well. So it's one of those ones you kind of, you know, the kind of people you come in, you get a feel for the place. I think. I don't know, because as I'm saying it, we felt we did well. I think it's just a kind of, I don't know whether it's you talk about players or recruitment type of thing. If you can get if you can kind of get better players in, then it kind of helps, makes things easier. If you have a better budget, it helps as well. But again, it's one of those things, you kind of stick to your principles and stick to the kind of way you want to play and your ideas and things like that. And again, it's are you playing out for the back? Are you going to go long? Are you going to mix it up? Are you going to do a bit of both? But I think you kind of chop and change. For me, we've kind of changed formation a couple of times, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I see these managers nowadays at the top level saying, I am playing this way, and I am doing this, and I am doing that. Fair enough. And these guys, again, maybe using Russell Martin as an example, he goes and does that, and it's not working week in, week out, and then they still stick to it, and they don't maybe go with 2 up front, or they don't maybe go with 3 up front, they stick with 1 up front, or they maybe stay with the 5 or 3 at the back, whatever it may be. So we've chopped and changed during games, we've chopped and changed due to personnels, maybe due to injuries, but at the same time, depending on maybe who you're playing against, you might have to tweak things within the system, or you might need to tweak things during the game, and again, these things happen, and I'm more than open to doing it. I think you should be able to adapt and be able to change, because at times that formation might not work. And Saturday it was the same. We changed at half time to go and make it match up against them as such, and try and get 2 forwards up and try and stop them from kind of getting out too easy. And we kind of felt it worked. And again, we get the result, we get the performance, we get the clean sheet off the back of it.
Well, we've had to listen to 3 urinal rotations there, I think, and it sounds like the police are trying to boot the door down. But
Skills.
Anyway, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure to come and see, to finally actually just meet you in person as well, and to come to this wonderful facility that you have here at New Douglas Park. Of course, the commute for me is not that bad.
In the
So
corner.
aye, it's hardly getting up to Dundee for Bobby Lynn at Lochie United. So, and that was a great adventure, by the way. I do not regret that.
Sure, he had a
one,
few
but-
stories.
Oh, he certainly did. He certainly did. Lovely guy, but and now he's at North End as well.
Yeah.
So if he's watching this, can he have put a wee word in to Kevin McNaughton for me, please? Thanks. Anyway, Darren, mate,
No problem.
it's been an absolute
It's
pleasure.
through you.